Ladies and gentlemen, we are live on the old YouTubes, as my mom calls it.
YouTube.
Welcome to another tent pitching edition of At Home with Mark. We are very excited today. Pete, I am so pumped to talk to you, man, because I've been watching you for a while. But like the whole thing about this show is I want to know the Pete from a wee Pete to a large Pete.
The large Pete.
Yeah.
Okay.
But thanks, Pete. Thanks for making time, buddy.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. You know, I've been asked to do some of this stuff, and it's been really busy. So, more like interviews and stuff. And why? How did you get to there? And how did you get through this? And why are you at Anderton's? And how did you become a guitar player? You know, and it's been busy, but I want to do it. You know, it's nice to talk to people, especially now that we're all sitting home and not getting anywhere. You know.
Yeah, man.
So this is. Thank you for having me. It's awesome.
Dude, I'm so pumped. So I've got some quirky questions. We're not going to do the typical thing. I try to stay away from the typical, but
you can ask anything. And the tent pitching thing was great. I like it.
I figured you'd like that. So I know it's funny, man. Before you came on, I was like, I use this stuff to keep my throat lubricated. It's like this beekeeper's honey thing, and I have to shake it up before you come on. I was like, please don't let him to come on when I'm shaking it, because listen. If you see my
and there's no picture on it, I could just see that.
But so my first question to everybody all the time is, I have a very, very specific moment in my life that I was like, I want to play guitar, like super specific. Can you remember? And I was like probably in the 4th, 5th grade, but can you remember a very specific moment when that kind of happened for you?
I don't know if there was a specific moment where I got that, I want to be a guitar player. But there was one moment where I went to this tiny little private school there was like 50 kids in 10 or 11 grades, you know, in Denmark. Tiny little private school that was set up by parents. And what was I? Probably 10, maybe 10. And we were at this school camp with the parents and everybody together, parents, kids, teachers, you know, not even 100 people, you know, it's such a small school. Anyway, and there was a guitar lying on a sofa that one of the other dads has brought along just to have. It's proper hippies that, you know, my parents are hippies. And then I sort of just picked it up and sort of just started sitting there noodling. And he came over, do you want to play guitar? I was like, well, I don't know. But he sort of showed me E, you know, D, A, whatever, G. And I could just literally just went, well, okay, yeah, that's pretty easy. And I went, I like this. This is, you know. And then he was like, I want to teach you to play guitar. Can I ask your parents? It was like, yeah. And they were like, yes, absolutely. And that was the moment where I sort of just figured out that I can do this and I can be good at this. Do you know what I mean? And it's not like I watched probably like everybody else watched the Marty McFly rip a solo in Back to the Future, you know, and went, but that was, I think that was just I just picked it up and it was so natural. It was so natural that I could do it literally so quick. And I was playing the rhythm was there and everything. And I think the parents were a little bit like, oh, hang on, has he played guitar before? I think there was something natural going on, you know, that and then they didn't push me. They never pushed me. But he was like, and then the first song he taught me was Blackbird. And I literally had that down within no time.
In the beginning of playing?
Yeah, that was my first proper song I learned. And then it went downhill from there completely, you know. It was all shit from there on out. Yeah, so that was the first he taught me Blackbird. And then and I never stopped since. I never stopped playing guitar ever since.
That's not an easy song to start as your first tune playing guitar. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Man. So it just came that easy to you that you just felt it, everything felt super right in your hands.
It was just I always had this thing that I think everybody's got something they're good at. You know, I think people say, oh, there's no talent, but I do think that everybody has got a talent, whether it be painting or, you know, or driving like Lewis Hamilton Formula One cars, or everybody's got something in them that I think they can do well. Whether they find it, in their lifetime, maybe not. Maybe they don't find it. Maybe they're good at skydiving and doing, and they never do it. You know what I mean? Maybe,
Right.
or maybe they can split the atom, but they go, I'm not clever enough to be an engineer or whatever. But I do think everybody's kind of got a that kind of a talent in them. Saying that, my family on my mum's side, they are my grandfather and my mum's cousin, and the kids are all musicians and drummers. So that's always been there, it's always been interesting to me, music. It's always been around the house, Beatles, Led Zeppelin, Hendrix, my parents have always played music as well. So I don't know, maybe that plays a role, but yeah.
I mean, that's huge. Like any kind of lineage, like musical lineage through the family, like that's the one common denominator I don't have with people. Like my grandfather kind of played guitar, but kind of is a very loose term. Like, what I mean? I had to find that stuff on my own. So like, that's cool. So, you're saying your parents were hippies listening to Zeppelin, Hendrix and stuff. So did you like grow up, because there's a kit behind you, did you grow up like playing drums, playing guitar, playing bass?
Yeah, so this school that I grew up in was a very liberal school. I don't know if you can call it liberal. I have to be careful with how I put things. It's not communists, but it's like it's just a school that was set up by parents, and what they wanted was for their kids to maybe not learn, maybe have some other aspects on life, learn music more, learn art more, learn other things than just sit down and do the maths, but still do the maths, but you would do like a week of it, and you'll do we'll have a week on history, on World War II or something, and we would really get into it. We will have a geography thing where we'd learn the world, it was more concentrated, but also there was a music room, and a lot of the teachers were musicians. And as soon as they figured out that I was like musical inclined, I just got the keys. They just went, every time there's a recess, here's the keys. If you want to go and play, you just go and play. That's awesome. I went in there and I played the drums, well, probably drums was one of the other things that I kind of learned with the rhythm and stuff. And then just got into playing bass and piano. And I just thought that music, it was such an expressional thing. I didn't think I knew it at that time, but it was just interesting to me that I could do 2 or 3 notes and it would sound a certain way. Or if I could do a groove, and I could play something on the drums, and it would be, and people go, yeah, I like that kind of, the feelings and the emotions with it all, that was kind of interesting to me as well.
That's cool.
Yeah. So
when you were young, did you get like a 4-track and multi-track, like multi-instrumentalist style kind of stuff? Were you doing that when you were little?
Not like recording stuff. Yeah, I think that was not till later on, maybe 17, 18, when I got my first 4-track, and then what is the one with what's the computer where you can run Cubase in black and white,
Oh yeah,
programs and stuff. And I did gigs from 13, so I didn't really write that much in the beginning. It was more just, gotta go play guitar. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. So were you just doing like pub hits and stuff? Like, who were you playing with, older guys or?
Yeah, there was a couple of guys in my class, in my year, and there was a drummer and a bass player, and it just fitted in together. We were good friends, and we all loved music, and there was a drummer and a bass player and me, and we were like 14, 15, and we were playing the local pubs and boozers, and our parents would take us out to do it. And
yeah,
stuff.
man.
And I had a bicycle, and I built myself a little trailer, and I put my little vinyl state Marshall in the back there, and I had a little, the guitar thing, and I cycled down and put my gear up, and all these drunks, and we would just play, So,
oh my God.
I think it was, maybe because it is, what we're saying, 30 years ago or whatever, even more, maybe 30 years ago, it was a bit more of a, people weren't scared of letting their 14-year-old kid go out and play in a gig. I don't know. Now it's like, oh, don't go outside, you'll get kidnapped and raped. And, we all scared of it,
Yeah. Somebody's going to cough on you, bro. Don't go out there.
Oh yeah, that's another thing.
So like, what kind of stuff were you guys covering and playing? Like, what were you listening to? Like, what got your rocks off guitar wise in the beginning?
I think I was just wanted to play guitar, but we did a lot of Clapton, and we did, cocaine and we played the song Cocaine. We were too young for the other things, but we did, and then we played like Blowing in the Wind, and whatever, like Stevie Ray, BB King songs, and then we met another friend. We found another friend who was playing harp, and he liked to sing blues hits. And then we played Albert Collins, and that was all kind of growing up from 14 to like 17, 18. We did whatever whatever we could that people want to hear. If some drunk would come up, can you play this song? We'll say, we can't, but we'll learn it for next time.
Yeah.
And it was just fun. I don't think it was as much as I didn't really have a hero. It wasn't like Jimi Hendrix. I want to be like Jimi Hendrix. I just love playing guitar.
That's a mature approach to have, that young man, because especially to be playing those type of tunes, like, dude, I didn't know who Albert Collins was when I was 14. I knew who Mike McCready was, and Stone Gossard, and Kurt Cobain, and you know what I mean.
But we did all the Kurt Cobain stuff as well, some of it, but maybe in more bluesy arrangements,
Yeah, that's pretty mature. And I feel like your approach to guitar, like anytime I listen, what I like about your playing, and granted, obviously the age we are, you should have a mature approach to the instrument, but like you have this old soul vibe, like when you play, that I really like.
Yeah, it was never, I was always aware of Steve Vai and all of these guys. When I got slightly older, in the beginning, I just wanted to play guitar. I didn't till I started studying music. Then it was like, oh, Robben Ford, oh, Larry Carlton, oh, Mike Stern, oh, Steve Vai. All of these people pop up because your friends or your guitar colleagues go, have you heard about this guy? And you go, no. It's like, and you go and listen, and then you get all of this inspiration. But in the beginning, it was just about me loving playing the instrument, really, and then listening to songs more than listening to necessarily the guitar playing. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And approaching it like, and that's it was never a thing for me to be the fastest. It was more about playing a couple of notes and
and being really soulful.
Yeah, and making the guitar sound good and let the notes come out. And I think that kind of approach was more. There's been a couple of people in Denmark that inspired me to, one guy put your guitar a little bit further down here, another guy, I'll play the Strat, and when you go, oh, he's a bit older than me, oh, he's cool, Of course, you probably had the same thing when you were that age.
Oh yeah, man.
So, but yeah, we just did all that stuff. But that's good memories. They're all coming back now. We're talking about it.
Yeah, well, man, I feel like the music that we listen to and that we want to emulate can shape us. But like you had such a melting pot. It's no wonder you do the stuff that you do and the way that you play. Like it's not surprising to me, because like when I hear you play, it's very much like how I approach. Like there's like an R&B soulful kind of approach to it. There's a blues approach to it.
Yeah.
So I can hear your influences a bit, but it's totally you. Like even when it's like if it's you and Ariel sitting down playing for a video, whatever, and you guys are trading 16s or whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
It's like totally different. Like even though you guys are in this blues realm and kind of like how there's almost a bebop language too to like what you do sometimes.
Yeah, I think it's just the whole thing about practicing. I'd never practiced. I just played a lot, and I think listening to lots of Stevie Ray, I hear a lot of people going, oh, I remember that first time I heard Stevie Ray play, or I saw him, somebody pop the VHS tape in, and it just blew my mind. I never really had those kind of, that sort of, I wouldn't go, oh, I want to be like Stevie Ray, oh, I want to be like Robben Ford, but I went, oh, that's really good, and I like the playing, but I'm going to take that bit out of it. Does that make sense? Because I've listened to a lot of R&B, as you say, like, and jazz. Babyface is Whitney Houston, just for the chord progressions in some of these massive Run to You songs, and when they modulate up, and you know what I mean. I like, that's why I like all the major sevens and and all those big big, lovely chords.
It's more expressive. I mean, and that's the way that you play. It's cool. Like, what did you? So when you're talking about studying music, like, did you go to music school and study music theory and harmony and?
Yeah, so I did. I went to. It was in Denmark. Denmark is really cool because they do a lot for art and musicians. Well, they did back then, and I lived in this little town. Little 50,000 people, quite small, and they were doing these grants for people to study. And schooling is free, so I had to go and do it's like a music, not a conservatory, it was like a pre-conservatory thing. So you're gonna go in and you have to do a written test, theory. You have to play in front of some teachers and an examiner or whatever, and then they'll decide whether you're good enough, and it's all free. So when I was 16, I could either go to college. You probably call it college, or like we call it a gymnasium, which makes no sense, but that's what we call it. Which is a 3-year education. I can go and do this music education for 3 years, this music degree, which all you get in the end is a piece of paper to say, you can now teach, like, okay, well, what can I use that for? Nothing. Anyway, but I was so young, I was 16, but I applied for both, and I got into both, luckily. I remember going into I've played Talk to Your Daughter by Robin Ford, and then we went all this theory, you have to have this chord, and then to this interval, we had to hit, how you have to hear the intervals. Yep. And I remember when they called me back in to say how it went and whether they would present me with the place. Now, he just went, this is your written theory and your listening theory tests. And what we're going to do with this now is going to put it in the drawer here. And he put it underneath the table. And we're not going to talk about that at all. Okay? Because it was obviously so shit. It was obviously so bad that I completely failed it all. But he said, because you're playing and because you're 16 years old and the way that you express yourself on the guitar is, we really think that you can develop into something, and the theory we can always look at, So I really appreciate that. So I had 3 years where I studied music. I wish I'd done it later. I wish I'd probably been like 21 or something before, because when you're 16, man.
Yeah, you take it for granted. You don't put all your energy into it. Yeah.
And then there's girls, and then you're still playing gigs and, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
That might be a bit more interesting.
Yeah, that's funny, man. It's there's always that joke about, like, if you're a guitarist and somebody puts a piece of sheet music in front of you, it's like, either play it or I'm going to blow your brains out. It's like, just blow my brains out, buddy, because there's no way I'm going to be able to sight read.
I mean, I did train myself to do that, and I trained myself to be able to hear intervals, and I trained myself to hear the sort of the chord progressions, and then when I started to be like, when I started proper full-time musicianing, or if that's musicianing,
it's a phrase now, man.
It is now.
Trademark Pete.
Yeah, musicianing. I think I never used it, man. There's been occasional where you go into a session in a studio and they'll lob a piece of music in front of you, and you always got time to kind of, and most of the time they know that it's me, and they just go, you just do what you want, because we call you because we want you to play how you do want it. Do you know what I mean? And then you get some chords, and then you're like, fine. And then they go, just express yourself. Just do what you do well, whether it be acoustic guitar, electric guitar. And then everybody's happy, So that, whatever. Yeah.
No, that's great, dude. I wanted to ask you, so this is a question I've been asking some guitarists recently too. Like, what was your first rig? I know you said you had a Marshall valve.
So my first rig is even better than that, because my first real amp was an Ampeg. Oh, it's a 212 Ampeg combo of some sort. I can't remember what it was, but it was flipping awesome, like proper loud and heavy. And I remember me and my dad went out to buy it somewhere for 250 quid, but it was just a cool amp, and I had that for quite a while. I don't know the brand. I can't remember the maker or the exact model. And then I had a Honor ST Professional, like a black Strat style thing. That was kind of my first rig. And I think I had a Boss DS1, a Boss DD3, a Boss SD1, and I still have those pedals.
Nice.
I bought that guitar back on eBay. Not that exact guitar, but I wanted one, just to see what it was like. So I bought one for like 50 quid on eBay recently, and it was shit. So
You're like,
it was
why
so,
did I-
but so that was the first kind of rig I had, and it's funny. I remember I need to go and find these VHS tapes, because I did play some places, and my parents did record it like an old school like camera like that, with a VHS tape in it. So there are some footage of me 13-year-old playing Smoke on the Water and playing the solo, where as soon as I hit my DS1, it's so loud, and then you can see me go, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm gonna turn it down,"
Oh, that's so great.
But yeah, it's just those golden, and I'm also happy that actually there weren't much Facebook and Instagram back then, because oh my god,
Yeah.
weird things in my life.
Yeah, I thank the lucky stars, man. Like, if that none of my high school career like, documented in that way. Dude, so when we were younger, I mean, that's really all there was Stompbox wise. It was like Boss. Mostly just Boss and like those old
MXR, yeah, I think Boss was there, MXR was there. Which is still, the Boss stuff is still great, man. It still holds its place today. And the Watercraft stuff is amazing. I mean, we've done a few sort of blindfold shootouts recently, which has not gone live yet, but there are some of the stuff in there, and it just sounds great.
It really does.
Yeah, and that's the what else was there? I think 94. There's a Danish brand called T-Rex, which I started using a lot, which is really good, and they're still around. MXR. Crybaby's been around forever. I think in 96 or 98, I don't know. I did buy a Klon.
Yep, me too, man. I sold it.
Which I sold because I thought it was too big. I had a CE1 chorus from Roland. I sold it because it was too big. And and then I swapped it all for like a Digitech RP1, that pedal board. It was awful. Then I had an ME5 for a while. Which I liked, and I'm trying to buy one back. The little Boss ME5 board.
Yeah.
And then I had an ME10, which I regret to sell the ME5 for the ME10, and I was on all that shit, man.
Yeah. Dude, I didn't.
Then it was a gear journey, even back then.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when did you start getting into like gear and like working on your tone and all that stuff? Like, was that like around that 16, 14, 15, or was that later?
Probably about, where do we live? We lived, I think I just played more gigs, and I think it was just when all of those boards started coming out, the ME5, and that kind of digital thing became a thing where we were like, oh, you need to have everything in a board, And then I just tried it all, because I've always had like jobs on the side, so I've always had, that not necessarily had to go and do gigs to make money. So I could always just, if I had a job, I could go and do, I could go and buy some gear. You know what I mean? It wasn't, and then somebody got, do you want to play a gig for 50 quid? And they're like, yeah, I'm there. It wasn't like, oh, I need 150 quid.
Yeah,
I would just do it. Still the same now.
Man. And after all this crap with COVID, man, it's funny how many musicians, like we were talking before the show, like people taking it for granted, and like before COVID, it's like, I don't leave my house unless it's $150. I'm like,
yeah.
Do you like playing music, man? Like, yeah, you're gonna make $100. I can't give you the extra 50, but like, we're gonna go have a good time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, there's two sides to that story, isn't there? Because I stopped my last tour, sort of big tour, was in 2015, and I just became a little bit sort of that. When somebody would call up, like a fixer, someone, and go, "Oh, we got this new artist on Universal Audio, on Sony or whatever kind of whatever Universal or whatever. Can you come and play some acoustic guitar for this new artist on the record label?" And I was like, "Yeah, I can do that, And but you have to come in and rehearse for 3 days in the middle of London, and you have to drive yourself in, find parking, pay for that yourself, and buy yourself lunch, and we give you 100 quid." There comes a point when you are a career musician, which I was before I started this YouTube stuff, when you just go, well, okay, I've got kids that needs to go to nursery. I've got, driving into London, paying congestion charge. Basically, you have to pay to drive into London. You have
Mhm.
to find parking for the day, 3 days, boom, 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 all that stuff, and then you have to pay the tax man, and then you go, it's not worth it, really.
Yeah,
So
no.
there's two sides to the story. If it's my friend, I've got before all this flipping COVID hit, we did have this little Mojo pin. It's called like a little band, and they just
cool.
go, "You want to play a gig on Saturday in a garden party?" And I'm like, "Yay, do it!" And I just put some gear in the car and whatever, and we'll just have it's just nobody cares, and we all just have a blast.
Yeah. Mhm.
And that's so important for musicians, I think. But
Really is, man.
But my God, I feel so shit for a lot of my friends and a lot of people out there that have lost, everything. Yeah, it's not easy, but,
No, it is not. When did you start? When did you get your first big touring gig? Like, how old were you? Was this like fresh out of like music school, or was this a little bit later?
No, I think it's so. What are we talking here? 96, 90. Oh God.
We're both old. You don't have to worry about that. We both old.
Is that you think back and you go, what year was it I got my driver's license? And you go, wait, you know what I mean? Because I need to so I've got a Danish driver's license and I've lived in the UK for like 15 years now or something. And I still have not swapped it to a UK one. And I always get the form and I start filling it in and then something else gets in my head, So I looked at it the other day because I have to do it now, Brexit and all that stuff. And then I'm just looking at it. It's like 96. I'm like, oh my God, man. And you look like a girl and whatever with glasses and the hair back in a ponytail,
Nice.
Anyway, so I think my first, I did some pops, Pop Stars was also a thing in Denmark, like Pop Stars. It was called Pop Stars, not X Factor. And I kind of worked with some people back then, and we did some touring. That must have been 2001. It started to pick up with touring in Denmark. Going on a tour means that you get in a car, drive to a gig, and drive home, and then the next day you drive out again and you drive home because the country is tiny,
Mm-hmm.
You basically drive everywhere. If you get a stay over somewhere, you are lucky. if you get a night in a hotel, So yeah, that was probably 2000, and they were fairly big Danish artists, pop artists, boy band and stuff like that. And then my first breakout, or whatever you can say, was I did a lot of session stuff in Denmark then, and then 2003. That's when I got my first call from the UK asking if I wanted to do Tom Jones at the Brit Awards, which didn't come. I met a guy called Gary Wallace, a drummer. He was producing some stuff in Copenhagen for Aqua, and I had worked with the managers. He had another act, and I worked with those guys, and we've been on a tour in sort of America. And me and the manager hit it off, and he asked me, "Do you want to come and play some guitar for this guy Gary, who was over here? He's a drummer. He's played with Stevie Wonder and Pink Floyd and all sorts of stuff." I'm like, "Yeah, that's cool. I'll do that." Went to do some session with him, and he called me. We became good friends, and he called and said, "Do you want to do this gig?" I'm like, "Yeah, you're lying." Who believes that when somebody calls you and asks you if you want to do that? And that was when my first kind of introduction to, proper music rehearsal room and a massive band and somebody who comes over and goes, hey, I'm Neil, I'm your guitar tech. I'm like, oh,
Say what?
Yeah, it was literally flipped over from one day to the next. And then I think we did loads of little gigs in here and then. The first tour was 2004 with a girl band called Atomic Kitten over here in the UK. So, which was an arena tour,
Man.
Which a Danish guy, you go, there's a tour bus. What? I've got a hotel room. Oh my God, it's going to be 20,000 people. It's like completely mind blowing. Why am I here? So,
right.
Obviously, we're just good friends, and I think that is how you are is quite important to whether you get the gigs or not. I don't know.
No, I agree. What's that quote that BB King said? I quote this all the time, or paraphrase it all the time when he was talking about, like, I'd rather hire somebody that needs a little coaching but is a wonderful human instead of hiring some jerk who can do the job in his sleep.
Yeah, it's so important, man. I think it's really important, and I've always had that. Be nice, just be nice, and be yourself. Because that doesn't matter if I'm doing the Anderton's videos or you'll see me or whatever. Then that's just how I am.
Yeah, no,
I think
I'm the
that's
same
how
way,
you
dude.
get furthest. If you just pretend to be somebody you're not, and then it's never great.
Yeah, no, that's not serving you at all.
No.
What was your rig on that big tour, like on the arena tours? What were you playing through?
Well, so that was 2004, and I mean, back in Denmark, then before then, I started picking up some. I had a Fender Bassman 68 head with a cab. I had a 68 Vox AC30 non-top boost. I had a Fender Dual Showman head and cab. So I was into all that kind of vintagey stuff back then. And I got my white Strat somewhere. It's not here, but which I bought from one of my friends at a music shop, and he got a 1954 mint condition Strat bought from Germany, and the same guy had this white 64 Strat, and it's kind of a Frankenstein Strat with a different body on it and stuff, so they didn't really know what it was, but the neck is definitely 64, and I got that for like $1,000 or something, and that then became my main guitar, and that's the one I played on. I don't know if you can find it on the Brit Awards with Tom Jones. I put a Danish flag on it.
Nice.
I was so proud.
That's dope.
And and then I had also had the Line 6 Veta head. And I was into all that stuff. And then on the first UK tour I had two Fender. Fender Reverb? Fender, was it the Twin? Fender Twin. Oh yeah, I had the Twin. The red knobs.
Yeah.
That was one of my first. I had that amp, and it got stolen. Somebody stole it out of my car or out of my basement room or something. I used that. That was one of my. Somebody stole my amps basically out of my car. I can't remember. So and then I started collecting the vintage gear. I had also. What did I have then? Was it like 18, 19? I had two biggest rig in the world, two 4x10 Blues DeVille when they first came out. I remember those. Loud, proper Stevie Ray tone. So I used the Twins, and then on the first arena tour, I had one Twin, and I had a spare one because they had a built-in fuse inside it, and if it got too hot, it would just flick the amp off. So we kept swapping them over because you had to take the whole chassis out. It's like stupid. And my pedals was 3-line 6, the 3-line 6 pedals. So the overdrive, the modulation, and the delay one, and a wah pedal. That was the because I flew over and I had to get some gear over in the UK for that. Then I swapped to the Boogie on the next tour after that. Got some Lone Star and Lone Star.
Those are killer, man.
Oh, it's great gear, and then started just collecting pedals, like a mad person.
Dude, me too, man.
Are you into vintage gear and stuff?
So funny enough, I am not wealthy enough to have any vintage gear, unfortunately. But I did. You know what was weird, man? When I was living in Boston, my bass player at the time was about to go to grad school, and he was going to go to grad school in Israel, so he was leaving. And his dad, I don't know what business his dad had, but his dad had a warehouse. Yeah. And there was a Fender Twin in the warehouse. And he's like, "Do you want this?" And I was like, "Sure." What? Like, how much? And he was like, "Just take it. It doesn't work. And like, if you just get it fixed up and it's yours, whatever." So I took it to my amp guy up in Maine when I was living there, and he cracked it open. It was a 1971 Twin Reverb.
Oh, like a Silverface?
Yeah, it was a Silverface. Oh. It sounded great, and I was just running it on 2 power tubes, so I could just crank it up and get it to break up quicker.
Yeah.
And that was a great amp, but it was too heavy, dude. Like, it was just to lug it around Boston, and like these little clubs and stuff. And I was just like, this is way too loud. Like I need something small. And then I sold that. I don't know what I bought when I sold that, but that's the only piece of vintage gear I've ever owned. Like, but it's gone.
I mean, I think as we in the beginning we just touched on. I sold that big chunky Ampeg amp, and I got this Marshall Valve State 40, with the little click switch in it.
I remember those.
Right. And you remember those? They had a little like rectangular on button, and it wasn't bad. Yeah, but it was fine. Up to the clean tone, and I just lobbed some pedals on it, and it was all right. And it was fine. And it was light, and you could just drag it around. But I think with regard to all that vintage gear, because when I moved here, I just sold all of it off. Which I sometimes regret, and then I don't regret it, because now if you want to buy all the old Fender stuff now, we got like a 100-watt silver face head in, nothing secondhand, and it's like 300 quid. Nobody wants them. Nobody wants to buy those really heavy old twin amps, even though they're great. But and then you can, people can say what they want about the relicking thing, but if you want something close to a 64 Strat and don't want to pay 50 grand for it or whatever, the closest you can get is one of those custom shop relic jobs, because they are really that good if you want something like it,
I was going to ask you about that. Like because I've never played a vintage. Well, no, that's not true. I played a 69 Strat one time and it was really good. Or no, not 69. It might have been like 64 actually. But and that felt amazing. That guitar felt amazing. It sounded great. Yeah. But like, is there like a big difference between like the $1,500 or $2,000 Strat and then the $4,000 custom shop or $5,000 custom shop? Like that much? Okay.
I think so. I mean, I think it's that diminishing law of diminishing returns or whatever Lee keeps talking about all the time. It's kind of, if you buy a like a Strat like this, which is a Japanese. I think that's like $799 or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a nice Strat. So let's say it's just a standard kind of Strat. That plays lovely. That's really good. Nothing wrong with it. Absolutely fine. Then if you go up to a, like the 1800 standard Strat, it just feels a little bit better. But it's not. Can you justify another £1,000 on it? The price. Or if you go down to the player Strat, which is like 400 or 500 quid, is it better? Is it that much better, or is it just that much better? It's probably that much better, but the price is that much more. And the same again when you then go up to the proper expensive stuff. So if you go like this, gorgeous. Which is a Tom Murphy aged,
it's gorgeous, Pete.
True historic. This is not worth £10,000 in a million years, but it's just that little bit better. That if you have the money, yes, it's worth it. You know what I mean?
That little bit.
It's that with the custom shop Strats, or the custom shop stuff that Fender does. Yes, they will cost $4,000, but it is absolutely worth it, because it feels like a $4,000 guitar. I mean, there's
your baby.
That's the thing. You get it just feels like it's been played so much. Yeah. And I know people don't like the relic and I want to do it myself and all of that stuff, but I haven't got 45 years to play a guitar every day.
I like the Mojo, man. I do. I don't like super heavy relicking, but I like the little bit. And like what you're saying, that little bit more is that much more inspiration to pick that thing up.
But that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I try to say all the time. Is the inspiration. Do you want a guitar that you buy because you think it's the best guitar to buy, or do you want something that when you look at it, or the most what do you say, the most sensible guitar to buy for you? I'm going to save a little bit of money, and that looks the same as that one over there. Or do you want something that when you just see it on the corner of your eye when it's sitting on the sofa, and you go, I'm going to have to pick it up. I have to pick it up and play it. That for me, that is the most important thing. And that's what I'm trying to get to when people go, shall I buy the Strat? Shall I buy the Telly? Or shall I buy the Shall I buy this Strat or shall I buy that Strat? Shall I buy this color or shall I buy rosewood? Or that? But you have to get the one. It doesn't matter what I didn't buy this because it was purple. This was not because it was a purple telly. This is because this is the best Telecaster that I've ever played in my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
For me, not for. I didn't even plug it in. I just went, and I went, I'm gonna have this guitar. And then of course it got sold and it came back and nobody told me, and it sat in his office for 3 months, and then it was presented to me for my birthday. But
so awesome.
It's such a great story that it was meant to be. But I think when people, who was it? I think it was Music Is Win that put it was Paul Davis that put a thing up on Twitter. What would you rather buy, the guitar that looks best or sounds best? That was his question, A or B. What would you do?
Sounds best.
So I went the one that plays best,
the
one that feels best, because you can always change the pickups.
You can paint it.
You can always paint it. So that it's not. It's for you. For me. You have to play the one that, buy the guitar that feels. When you pick it up, you go, this guitar. I have to take this home with me.
Yeah, dude, I have a very similar story. Like I had sold a guitar, so I had like $2,500 in my pocket, and I was in LA. And I was going around to all these different music stores. And I'm like, I got money burning a hole in my pocket. I want to get something cool. And we went to Norm's. We went to, Guitar Center. We went to all the haunts.
Yeah.
And then the last place we went into was the Mesa Boogie store across from Guitar Center on the corner there. And when I went in, I saw, Nash, Strats, and Tellys. Because I'm a Telly Strat guy. Yeah. So I'm looking around and I see the Sir. And I'm like, oh, I've heard of Sir. And I picked it up. And I was like, dude, this feels like somebody snuck in my bedroom and measured my hand while I was sleeping. Like, it feels so comfortable. It was creepy, dude. So I immediately bought one of those. And since then, now I have 2 Sir Strats and 1 Sir Telly. And it's the best S-style, T-style instruments I've ever played. For me, I love them. Yeah. But I'm curious about trying. I've always wanted to try the exotic stuff because they look so sexy.
Great. Yeah. I know. I mean, it's all that gear stuff. You can say, I've played a couple of Sirs, and it's like jeans, right? Can I put it like this? It's like there's so many jeans out there. There's Levi's. There's loads of stuff. I found out that for me, G-Star fits me the best. So I just buy G-Star jeans, because everything else doesn't seem to fit me lengthwise and style-wise. And I think that's the same. You might not like the brand, but if it's really good for you, I tried some Sirs, tried Ariel Sirs and some other Sirs, and they were I never found them to be my thing, and that's just, but I hear people like you that got the story going, I picked it up and there was like, boom, and then that's the one you need to buy. As somebody says here, as Walter says here, do you play with your fingers or play with your eyes? Yeah. And it's just, that's, you have to pick it up to play it. We've got a new guitar gallery at Anderton's, and we took out the whole drum department. Sorry, drummers. It was the biggest. There's the biggest room in the whole store. We made it into what they're called a guitar gallery now, and now we got loads of custom shop Strats and Tellys and PRSs and Gibsons, and we're going to get much more stuff in there. Gibsons, Martins, and Taylors, all sorts of stuff. And I just go in and pick stuff up to try it because I want to get another Strat. I want to get a Strat that is to me what the Telly is to me. And this Les Paul, which I picked up in the Gibson showroom, and I played it. I was like, "This is amazing! Can we do something?" And not knowing that, of course, it was the most expensive Les Paul they had in the shop in the showroom, which is annoying. But so we worked something out. But and I was like, I have to just have it. It's the best Les Paul I've ever played. And I think if you get a meh sensation, look a bit longer. Look someplace else,
I felt that way when I played. I was on my buddy Mike Palmisano's channel, and he a while back, and I brought my Sir over, and he had a Silver Sky, and he wanted me to feel them both and see what I liked about it. Yeah, and I liked the Silver Sky. I just wish the frets were bigger. The frets were too small. I wish they had jumbo frets on it.
They're very vintage style, aren't they?
Yeah, and then I think I would have probably liked it a little bit more. I mean, I think it's a great guitar. It's a
Yeah.
great style guitar, but like it just wasn't cutting through the Sir in terms of like my mindset.
No, but
But
that's what I'm saying is that, you know, you find something that you're really into, you know, and I can play a guitar with exactly the same specs as mine, and it's, even though it's got exactly the same specs, because that's what we are making. The tellies in Anderton's, the tellies that we make have got the same spec as my purple one, but none of them feel the same. You know, they all feel great in this. There's once in a while one comes in and you go, "Oh, that's cool. Shall I buy that?" And you go, "No, definitely not."
dude, did you play Ariel's Mule at all? Like, how do those feel?
Yeah, I love the Mule stuff. It's really good. It's an interesting guitar in that is the neck is very fat and chunky as far as I remember, which I don't mind because, you know, that's the Gibson is quite chunky, and my telly is quite chunky. It's not slim, but it's because it's kind of it's just a different guitar and it's tuned in a different key. But I really like it. It brings a certain inspirational thing to your playing, you know.
Yeah.
And I think one of the reasons, you know, I'm lucky that I play so many guitars, because every guitar I pick up, that you get something from them. You know, there'll be something, and you get used to the accent being a little high and the neck being a little, you know, too bold, whatever. There's always, all guitars need a bit of love, you know. But I'll just get used to going, yeah, it's great. Let's see what this gives me.
Yeah.
You know. And the Mule, I like the Mule. Hopefully there's something we can do with them in the future. But I'm really into that kind of. We try to take a G&L and make that into a, you know, put 16 gauges on it and tune it down, and then open, and it just didn't work at all. So
really,
to make it into a baritone short scale, that's what it is, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I do with my Sir Telly's in C standard, and then my other Sir Strat is I play in open C and C standard and standard.
Amazing.
So it's like I've been doing that forever. I've been doing probably for the last 10 years. I had a guitar in D standard for a while, and then when I saw Ariel did that with B, I was like, oh, I can go down to C then. Like that, it should be fine, and it's been fine. So, but I want to talk to you before we run out of time. So my wife and I, on our, was it, when did we go? 2 years ago, 3 years ago, some wedding anniversary, we came to London. We stayed in London.
Okay.
And I was like, I want to go to Anderton's. We have to figure out a way to take the train. I really want to go check out that store and like get a t-shirt. I just want to get a t-shirt and like,
I'll send you a t-shirt, man.
Yeah. But I love that store. I love what you guys do. But so were you like a fan of theirs and then you kind of rolled into that gig? Like, cause I watched it from 2010 when Rob was, you know, officially on there. And the first time I saw that episode when they were talking about I took an arrow in the knee, that's my favorite Anderton's moment.
They've done some great stuff. I mean,
so stupidly fun.
I mean, Rob and Lee, I think Rob started YouTubing like ages ago, you know, and I think Lee was quite clever in the way that he started up a YouTube channel. Never really knew what to do with it, but figured out quite quickly that when you do videos, on the back of that, people will find out kind of who you are and stuff. And and Rob was just one of the pioneers in it, you know, like him or not, you know. I think he's a great guy, but a lot of people, he is just who he is, you know. And I guess he puts himself out there. That's how he is. And what does he say? I'd rather have 100 people know about me than, what is it? 100 people not like me and 50 people know about me, or something. You know, that makes sense. Like, yeah, but if you don't like me, but you know who I am, you know.
Yeah.
So there's this, you know, but anyway, he was kind of pioneering that stuff, and he went around and asked a lot of people, going, you know, I'm doing this YouTube thing, and do you want me to work for you? And you know, and I think in the beginning, a lot of the companies like, nah, we YouTube is not a thing. But Lee went, let's do something, you know. So they started doing these videos, and then, but it was all on Rob's channel. All the Anderton's videos went on Rob channel, and then I was, you know, I did lots of touring, and I've never really been a fan, never really watched YouTube. I mean, I toured 2014, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, So that's the year I've toured all of that time, you know, whether it be in Germany with the last tour, like stadium tours, and I mean, I've been really lucky, world tours, and with Tom Jones and Il Divo and name dropping.
Dude, I love the pictures you put like of your view from the stage sometimes when you put that stuff on Instagram. It's cool.
I mean, I've been really lucky, you know, and I think lots of it in the beginning then, 2004-5, there wasn't Instagram and Facebook, and it was kind of just starting out. So, you know, but anyway, so what I as I said, I've always kind of have jobs to supplement stuff. You got dependents, kids, and all sorts of stuff. So I worked for the distribution company called Westside Distribution, and they were doing Mr. Boogie at the time. Mr. Boogie, Martin guitars, Schecter, MXR, and other stuff into the UK. And I was the demo guy, so I would go around to stores and go, "Hey, this is a new Martin, and this is a new," you know, all that sort of shit, and talk about that stuff. And I went to Lee and Anderton's. That's how I kind of came to know them. I went in to do some stuff for them, and they're just their silly selves. And Rob kept going, "Oh, you need to come and work here. This is gonna be great. You need to go and work here. You need to go and work here." And I kept going, "Oh, I'm busy. I'm touring. I'm a musician." And I think, and then you know what it's like being a musician, and it's feast or famine, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I just had some breaks, and I had this other job, and Lee was like, after we've done a couple of videos together, it's like, I want to put some more energy into the Anderton's channel. I think it had 60,000 subscribers at that point back in 2015, and this was just as I was doing this tour in Germany. And he was like, "Do you want to do this?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll do it when I come back," because I wanted to stay home a bit more and spend a bit more time at home, and just take a break from it all, because I was just sick and tired of the road and people. Musicians like moan, don't they?
Yeah. Well, I mean, dude, that's a valid point, though. I mean, if you want to be that's the best thing about COVID right now, is that best and worst is like more time with the family. But no, it's been awesome, man. It's been good to like not have to be somewhere on the weekends and be able to make a fire and get a pizza and like just hang out, you know?
Yeah, it is in a way. It's been, I mean, we haven't stopped. So for us, it's been, you know, we've been in our little bubble. So we got 3 people there working at Anderton's, and I spent like 3 days, and then I home editing for 2 days, you know, in the week. So we were still carrying on during the first pandemic. You know, we were upstairs, downstairs. So basically like what we do now, but we set it up so we could see each other on big screens, and then we would do the videos, but in the upstairs and the downstairs rooms in our studio, and it was all hooked up, you know, so we could continue doing videos.
That's awesome.
So we just try to overcome it, you know. But so anyway, so Lee just went, "Do you want to do this job?" Because and then me and Mick Taylor hooked up, and we did 5 videos or something, because Lee wanted to push the channel and start some stuff up on their own. And they went really well. And then Lee went, "Do you want to do this full time if I give you a job?" You know, and I was like, "A job with a real salary? I can't believe it. Monthly salary? I don't know." And then they take the tax out, and it's so great, you know. And I was like, "Yeah, let's do that." And then he just said, "Here, get some cameras, go and do this." And I painted and put up some stuff in the background, and I set it all up, and I had no idea. My father-in-law is a director, so he came to help with like lighting. I got lots of tips from Mick Taylor, because he's done, you know, from that pedal show, about using cameras and what settings and ISO 850 and all that stuff. And then and then Lee just went, "Just do it," you know. So I just went for it, and we just started doing videos, and it just literally the first year went up 900% from the. So it's like 2015, and it went whap. The viewings and the you know, the whole just sort of engagement with people and everything, it was literally like this, like Elon Musk style. and we were all like, "Holy shit, man, you know, this is something." And then we just sat down and we came up with, you know, guitar paradiso, acoustic paradiso, you know, all about the bass. We were like, well, let's do it like a TV show. Let's call it Anderton's TV. And then let's make shows, and every day you'll get a show you can follow if you want, you know. And then let's wear funny shirts, and let's have fun with it. and why don't we do these Captain Meeks interviews? That was a good idea. Let's ask, and we asked people, and I had all of these ideas, and Lee was like, yeah, let's do it, And now here we are, like 700,000 subscribers and 200 million views later, 5 years on,
Man.
And it's I enjoy it, because even if we sit down and play another pedal on another guitar, which is the same thing as it was yesterday, it's the camaraderie and the fun, and I mean, there's so many trolls. There's not many. Actually, we don't get it as much anymore. But when you get comments and then you're looking for, oh, that's nice. Oh, he's mean. And you focus. You got 200 comments and there's one bad one, and you go. Meh. You just have to learn. YouTube, thick skin, man. The first thing you have to be to put yourself out there, thick skin. Ignore it, because it's just not worth it. And
your fans will take care of the trolls.
Yeah, at the end of the day, and we troll back a little bit,
Yeah.
It's just, but it's harmless,
Yeah. Well, dude, I mean,
I can talk for hours. I'm not doing anything. It's not like I'm going anywhere. So if you got time,
I got time. I mean, as a guitar, I'm not the representative of the guitar community online, but like I can tell you, man, I love watching the videos, and most of the time, dude, I don't even give a crap what you guys are like trying out that day. I just want to see you guys talk and like the jokes and stuff that I love. It's just fun to watch. It's just like a good time, and it's wholesome. It's like wholesome in a way, meaning not like Little House on the Prairie wholesome, but like wholesome in the way that it's just two genuine dudes playing some gear that you might want to check out. So
and I think even if you don't, like people say, even if you're not really into the gear, if you don't necessarily into that gear that we're looking at that day, it might just be that you like it just because there's some funny banter. I mean, we cut so much stuff out that we can never, ever. We're collecting all of this footage, what we're talking about. We're collecting it all to one video. So when if Lee ever sells the shop with the connecting Anderton's channel, it's going to be the last video we set live. It's like lighting a fuse. Good luck with that then. Live and then just run.
Oh man, that's great.
Yes, I mean, it is. I mean, I play more guitar now, as you're probably aware yourself, when you're on tour or if you're touring or you miss it's like you play for maybe 2 hours a day, sound check, and then the show in the evening, depending on what show it is. If it's a 2-part show or whatever, then you play for 2 hours. When I play for 7 hours a day now, 6 hours a day, all day long, guitar. And even when I get home, I play guitar. So I think if you do something more and more, it's almost like exercise, which I need to get into again. But you know what I mean? You just want to do it more and more. So
do you find that your chops are growing because you're playing so much? Like, or some like stuff that you've dusted off of your chops like getting better?
Absolutely. I mean, I find that because it's when my playing, I wouldn't say it's limited, but there's things that like why we get Revere in, for instance, to do some of the chucky stuff, and I'm still like I got myself a Kraken, I did a thing for Victory, and they were like, oh, it's good to pay some money. I went, give me a Kraken, and then so I got a Kraken, and then I've got an Ibanez. I need to get myself like a proper chuck guitar, something like that, 7-string, and I want to learn that. So I find that I tend to learn stuff as when we do different videos, if that makes sense, and I really like that. So I've learned to try to learn some chugging and some sweeping, and maybe trying to play faster, just because people deserve to see not some blues guy playing pentatonic blues riffs on an ESP 7-string.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but totally. I'm probably never going to be super good at it, but if I can just have 3 or 4 kind of super chuck things, then I'll throw them out, and then people at least can hear what it sounds like. So I mean, something new every day.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Has there been anything so far, like, so what pieces of gear in 2020 and then like this new NAMM 2021 era right now? Yeah. Give me like two things from 2020 and 2 things from 2021 that like blew your mind.
Blew my mind.
Like stuff that you like, I would buy this. Like immediately sign me up.
Like guitar kind of gear.
Anything, pedals, amps, like whatever. Like I'm so late to the party on the aux. I played through an aux for the first time a couple months ago. Holy crap, man!
Yeah, the aux is great. I mean, the aux is super super great. I wouldn't necessarily use it as an attenuator. So I've got I got the DP40 there, and it's got a master volume on it. So people go, well, should I use an attenuator? So if you've got a master, just turn the master down, because that's what it's there for, and then you can play notes. But as a tool to get great tones into your interface, because I've got probably not seen, but I can't get it up. I've got an Apollo X4 here as well, and that's great. And I'm literally plugged straight into that and using the because I do session stuff, so I'll either use the aux, and then I'll find a good cab or something, or I will just use the built-in plugins, like the Friedman stuff, and it sounds really good. So the neural quad core DSP neural pedal board they've come out with, that is something that could potentially be a contender to Kemper and Helix, or it absolutely is one. And the tones that comes out of that, and the fact that you can capture pedals and amps, so you can take your favorite, you can take a real clon, and go capture, and then you got the tone. That's quite mind blowing, and it sounds great. Although in the real amp, and the pressure of a speaker is hard to beat. And also the new Universal Audio effect pedals looks great. Delay, reverb, and modulation. I'm looking forward to checking them out. They should actually be here soon.
Dude, it was just a matter of time until they did that.
Yeah, and that's why I know Tor. Tor he used to work for TC Electronics, tall Jesus guy. He's Danish as well. We talk a lot, and I was, as soon as they hired him, I was like, so when is the pedals coming out then? Because we work closely with the Universal Audio, because that's what we use all the gear in the studio. We've got we use Apollo X8Ps and Apollo 8s, and so we work with them. We do the sessions that we've done with them, and use the plugins for all of the stuff we record, Neve plugins and APIs and stuff, and it just sounds good when you put something in it. It always sounds great. The mic pre's in these interfaces are great. I'm
about to upgrade. I have a Focusrite Claret 4 pre, and I want to upgrade to the X4 this year. And are you using Luna? Are you guys using Luna?
I've got it here. We were going to use it, but it's the time to take to. I'm trying to learn it, and I think because I had it slightly before, so I had like a beta version of it, and there's a lot of upgrades all the time, and you can't do certain things that we kind of use a lot. But it's getting to the point where we probably will use it at some point. I've got this thing that, for some reason, I don't know if it's just me. Maybe somebody can comment. Oh yes, Brian, the Fiora. Yeah, that's a good guitar. The PRS. The Mark Terry PRS guitar, that looks great. There's a lot of actually, we've got Mark coming on for a Zoom interview. We are doing it on the 9th. We haven't got the guitar in yet. I'm waiting because we're going to do these. I don't know if I'm just jumping all over the place. Did you see the Ibanez Takeover Day? Did you see any of that stuff we did?
Yeah. Those new Artcores look great. I had when the first Artcore came out, the big jazz box guitar. I had one of those. That was great for the money.
Yeah, the Artcore is great, and the Art Star is great, and Ibanez is really going to do a good job. They got some great looking that new AS the Telecaster shape thing looks great with the mini humbucker, because for me, I'm getting into the mini humbucker, and the mini humbucker to my ears splits much better than a solid fat humbucker. It sounds better. I mean, the best splitting humbucker is if I can reach over and put another guitar up.
There you go, Brian.
There you go, Brian. Check that out. You like that one? That's the best splitting humbucker there is out there at the moment. No, I mean, by far. But the mini humbucker. I always say that. Humbucker. there's something in him that I really is getting into, and they've got that coming out. Brian, when is PRS going to do like a T style? Maybe a Purple Sky thing. I was so yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff coming out, lots of signature. I mean, Epiphone is smashing out some, and Kramer is smashing out some great signature guitars as well at the moment, which we've done a couple of videos with the Jared James Nichols gold one, and Nancy Wilson, like the Nighthawk. We got that in the studio. It's really cool. Tracy Guns, like Kramer one, this star thing, and that I was shredding away, man, like that. It's
how can you not?
Yeah, but it's just good fun to try to play all of these guitars, you know, and keep quiet with it because you got them like months in advance. I can't even remember what the question was. now.
Well, just about gear. Like for me, like this past year, man, like the three pedals that have really kind of shocked me and made me be like, wow, I didn't realize that tone could be this good are the Chase Bliss Automaton. That the fuzz,
yeah, no, that's mind-blowingly good.
Oh my God, dude. So I've never used MIDI, but I think I'm about to get a Morningstar just so I can control that.
I've got one over there because I'm going to update my pedal board.
Do you like it? Do you like using it? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I've got I did do a video where I had it on there, and it's so easy to use. My only concern with that pedal is if you take it out on the road, how much it'll last getting bing banged around with the little end motors in it and all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it looks great on a pedal board, you know, and it sounds amazing, but I would probably put it underneath something to keep it kind of safe.
Like a Schmidt array, just keep it underneath.
Because I remember when I did this tour in Germany, and I was up on I had this podium. I was on a podium up the stage down there, and I'm probably maybe like a meter up or something. And then I had my guitars was up like a meter and a half, maybe a little bit higher up. And I had a row of, 2 acoustic guitars and Les Paul, 335, Tele, Strat, whatever, 9 guitars, something like that.
Oh God, where is this going?
And it was like this round stage like this. And then because we were doing 2 shows in this stadium, they had this massive kabuki, So when we were done, it like that. And then when everybody's out, they would open it up again so they could just put the gear away and get the air. And what happened was, because it was windy, so the wind just caught in, and the big kabuki caught my guitar rack, and they all went on the floor, all of it, splat like that. And I wasn't there, but my guitar tech came in and was the next day was like, just to let you know, there might be some dings in your guitars because last night, so I literally just tore and I'm no Gibson headstock broken.
Oh,
nothing happened. I mean, there was a couple of Martins on there, and it was everything was fine. I mean, a few dings and dongs. That's why you don't, when you do tours like that, that's why you have touring guitars. You know what I mean? I'm not necessarily, might not bring this out on a tour where you just go, good evening, good night, whatever, and then you just put it in the rack and you just leave it, because next day there might be dings and dongs in it,
Oh, man.
So you got your SEs and all of that stuff for that. So, but yeah, that was just a little tour story.
Oh man. So with the Automaton, the Cornerstone Gladio, wow, dude, have you played through that?
I haven't. See, the problem with that is that when Mick and Dan does a video on something and they say it's great, then it gets sold out so quickly. So I've tried to get a hold of one, and Emilia was sent one over to Anderton's for us to use in the videos, and unfortunately when they booked it all in, they thought it was just another stock one, so it got sold. So we're trying to get another one, but it's got nothing on the Dane, man. I'm telling you,
I gotta try that. I've not really, I mean, there's no dealers around me that carry stuff would carry that, like Thorpe stuff or anything. So I mean, I'd love to try one of those. It sounds great.
Something out. No, I mean, that pedal is absolutely great. I love it. I use it all the time, and I think that's when you do a signature program. I mean, why have I got a signature pedal? I'm on YouTube. That's so I never expected that, but it was really nice to get involved, because you play so many pedals all the time, and you might go, yeah, I like this, but it just needs that, or this one is really good, but I wish that they could do this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, Soul people like, do you want to try to do something? Yeah, why not? Let's see what we can do. And I just gave him some briefs, and he just came up with a pedal, and I was like, that sounds fucking great, you know.
Yeah.
And it
Well,
does.
I'll have to try one.
I think if you use it all the time, we'll talk about that. But if you use it all the time, that's a sensitive that if it's a signature product for you, if you don't use it, what's the point? You know.
Yep.
That's
Right.
and I see a lot of people maybe, oh, I've got this signature this or this or that. I've got the signature pickups in my Telecaster, and I've got the pedal. I use it all the time, because I like it and it's my playing style, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's incentive enough for. I mean, we sold about 1,700 of them now.
Wow.
This is amazing, you know.
That's awesome, dude. Congrats, man. That's so killer.
Yeah, it is really good. So
Well deserved though. I mean, like, it's, you know, you're a great player, and you're doing a service to all of us to like play through crap that we normally don't get to play through, and you know.
But I'm still just a guy on YouTube, you know. It's funny, isn't it? Because you got these people playing for, you know, back in the Madonna, or, you know, whoever it might be, Bruno Mars, and nobody ever knows who plays guitar, who plays bass, and then you're some dude on YouTube.
Yep.
But it's the way that it's all changed recently, isn't it? You know, I get people saying, "How can I become famous on YouTube?" I'm like, "What? That's not. I didn't do any of this to
get famous. No,
to become famous on YouTube. I did it because I like playing guitar and it's fun, and I get paid some money that I don't have to worry about the tax man is going to come after me."
Yeah, man.
At the end of the day, you know.
I mean, I'm only about 1,100 subscribers now. I really started doing it in March. Like, when I started pushing it. So that's pretty good. I'm at 1,100 right now. And like,
that's great.
I feel great about it. But like, I don't even care, man. Like, I'm just having a good time. I'm having fun. And like that, people can see that. Like, they can, that's why your guys' channel is so popular, is because you're having fun and it's palpable. Like, you can feel it through the screen.
Yeah.
So,
and it's an honest thing, you know, we don't charge. So I'm seeing, you know, I'm not gonna, but the thing we realized really quickly in the beginning was not to charge money for videos, because what happens is that if somebody has a product for you and you go, here's a new pedal, or here's a whatever, and here's some money, can you make this sound good and make it look good? And you go, okay, thank you. And you go, oh, I don't really like it. And then you're kind of forced into some kind of false. And you look at some people's channel, and whatever it is always sound good or always sounds the same, but they never say, oh, I would prefer this have top mounted jacks, or I don't really like the full when it's on full top drive because it gets a little brittle. We can say that because we can have an honest opinion, because we don't get paid to say something that we don't necessarily mean. And we don't have to, you know, we don't have to do gear that we don't necessarily like. You know, if the product is not something that we feel like, if we do a video on it, it's not going to do a favor for the product, we probably will choose not to. You know what I mean? Because it can harm more than it can do good for some products. And there'll still be people that will like that product and buy that product because they are, you know, that's what they either can afford, or because they are a fan of this product or whatever. And we're not going to ruin that for them, you know. So it's like doing shootout videos. I mean, and then you get a pedal and maybe a 45 quid pedal wins over 250 quid pedal, and you go, oh my god, you know. But it's just an honest way of doing it, you know. We've just done one with clones. We've done one. We had a real original Go clon, and we do a clone blindfolded shootout, and you don't want to miss it because it's literally like, and it's me. I'm in the hot seat, you know. So
I can't wait. I saw there was a post about that comment, and I can't wait because I mean, dude, there's so many pedals now. There's so many clones that are doing it spot on. Like, that Wampler Tumnus, that's the real deal, man. Like,
well, that you say that. Remember, you said that, right?
right before I sold my Klon, which is how I got my I got my second Sir. But I was like, I'm gonna buy the Tumnus. I'm gonna A/B them in my room just to see. And I was like, holy crap, this thing is really good, and it's really loud. Like, you will not have a problem cutting through the mix.
Yeah,
but
that is the surprise one, you know. But I think people that does, you know, it's easy to do a Tube Screamer clone or a Klon clone or whatever. Stuff that we did with Thorpe is the Dane is not any of those things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a cascading gain stage, whatever. I don't really know exactly how it works, but it's none of those things because they're there already,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
it was nicer to make something that might not be exactly what everybody else is doing, because you can buy. We've done a Tube Screamer one as well, and it's literally you can just see us click from one to the other, and I'm just going, did you swap? I can't tell the difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's so that it's all down to it's down to people. Like the same with the guitar thing. I like this. I don't care what brand it is. I just like it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm gonna buy it. Buy the one that you want to play. Buy
Yeah.
the Mini Golden Horse. It's good.
Yeah. There's so many, and I want to try.
So many.
I'm gonna try Zach's Wildwood Mjolnir.
That is very good. I mean, I've got one of the. I've got not the. I've got a. He did a 10th year anniversary of his, and that is also very good. But it's funny because after we did this Glung shootout thing, I've got a KTR, and we put that next to the Goldklon, and it just sounds exactly the same.
It's funny.
And the sax one sounded exactly the same, and you just go, "What is it? Why does this has to be like 10 grand?"
I don't know, dude. I mean, I sold mine for $1,500, and I was like, I felt bad almost because I'm like, but I was like, I mean, that's the market price, so okay, I guess I'm selling it for 1,500.
I sold mine for 150 quid or something, or 100 quid. I can't. Yeah, man. Back in the day.
Dang.
Yeah, and I sold a TS10. Actually, I didn't even sell it. I just had I had this briefcase in my pants. One of those metal boxes that we all used to have for cables and stuff. And my dad's like, "I've found this in the basement. Is this yours?" And he took a picture, and there was like an old Ibanez EQ in there, and there was TS10, and this is just before they became,
Coveted. Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, "Oh, just give it to the local music shop and whatever, And I was like, "Oh, did you keep that thing?" It's like, "No, I just gave it in there." And you didn't want anything for it. You just said give it to the local music shop to give to the school or whatever. I was like, "Oh my god!" And it was a Japan one as well.
Well, now you got your Dane, man.
Yeah.
You're good. You got a signature, dude. So.
That's good. Yeah, no, there's so much good gear out there, and it keeps coming, and that's why we can keep going. And I think the YouTube channel thing is great for you to have your own. I've got my own one as well, and I think people like seeing what people are up to. So
yeah,
it's just great,
Yeah, man, it's fun. I'm having a good time. I mean, the only other piece of gear that I will mention that you guys might not be hip to, but you might is. Do you know about 29 pedals, Una? Do you know about that?
Oh, yeah, that is.
Oh, dude,
awesome.
How amazing is that thing?
Yeah, I've got it, and we are yet to figure out how to do a video on it, because it's such a. I did a quick playing on my Instagram when I got it here, and I just plugged it in, and it is literally like opening up, like plugging straight into. With a short cable like that into your amp, and just giving it that harmonics and the low end in there sounds amazing. But we had yet to figure out how to do a video so you get the best out of it, if that makes sense. Because it's a clever. I'm going to definitely have it on my board in the front because it's just awesome,
dude. It's so good. I mean, I bought a 2-Rock as a midlife crisis like last year. Just a studio signature, nothing crazy, not like a Bloomfield or anything, but studio signature. But I love it. It's so great.
Yeah.
And it's always been great since day one. But when I plugged that Una in front of it, I was like, how the heck is this making this amp sound even better? Like, this amp already sounds dope-alicious. Like, why is this? What the hell is going on with this thing? And I had Jesse on my show. I did an interview with him back in like November. And he's just such a brilliant dude. Like the way he describes things, I had to be like, Jesse, bring it down, man. Like I'm stupid. Like act like I'm an idiot. Like explain it to me in layman's terms. But yeah, man, that pedal is gold. It's so great.
Yeah. I mean, I've got the same with the Dane on the boost side. It's the same. It's a similar thing. When I put that on and just, I don't use the volume. I just use the low end of it, and then maybe like just a tiny bit of the level, and the amp just goes. Which you don't need when you're playing in a band, but if you're playing on your own, in a like we do. It's just you're sitting at home, it just goes like this. Okay. So it's a similar thing. The pedals you never want to take off. Annoying pedals.
Yeah, I know. Trust me, man. All right, you ready to do some lightning round get down questions? We can.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's do it.
All right. So 105 BPM. This raises the awareness that we are in the middle of the trenches here in this fight through this lightning round. Okay. So Pete, if you want to explain your answers, feel free to do it. Like, you know, some people just burn through them. Sometimes they'll explain them. I love the explanation. So feel free. First question.
Yeah.
It's always the same. Lennon or McCartney?
McCartney.
Boss tube expander or aux?
That depends on what you need it for. Aux, if you want it straight into your as a like a front of your amp, and if you want it as a attenuator, I'll go for tube expander.
Okay. Hot coffee or iced coffee?
Hot coffee.
Avengers or Justice League?
Avengers.
Rosewood or Ebony?
Rosewood.
Pearl Jam or Nirvana?
Never into either of them, but I'll say Pearl Jam.
Okay. Pizza or tacos?
Pizza.
Battle Studies or The Search for Everything?
Battle Studies.
Okay. Vans or Adidas?
Oh man, that's a tough one. Converse? Did I say that? No, Vans.
Okay. And this is the last one, Pete. Sometimes this is the hardest.
Okay.
Sometimes this is super easy. This is a would you rather question.
Oh, okay.
Would you rather randomly time travel plus or minus 20 years every time you fart, or teleport to a different place on Earth every time you sneeze?
Oh, probably the sneeze one. If you just randomly teleport like back and forth in time, you're like, well, how am I going to get back then? At least I know I can fly back to my house.
All right, man. You made it through. You made it through. Welcome to the other side of the lightning round get down on At Home with Mark.
That was amazing. I love that. That's such good. I did see that on your channel. I was like, lightning round. Oh, shit, what am I going to say? How am I going to get through this stuff? It's amazing.
Dude, it's funny. I've kind of changed it up a little bit because this is my second season of the show.
Yeah.
The first season, I would always try to like find out, you know, about the specific person I'm having on. Like Joey, at the end, the last question was Derek Trucks or Doyle Bramhall, and he was like, "Ugh, you bastard!" Like,
yeah, you bastard.
So, like, you know, I've been doing that. So I might go back to that. But I've been finding the most hilarious would you rather questions. I'm like, these are great to end.
That was pretty good. That one. That was pretty. Can you imagine fasting and you time travel 10 years in the past?
Somebody should make a movie.
What if you did like one of those, and you're just going?
You're bouncing all around like Bill and Ted, man.
Yeah, you have to make sure you go out somewhere where there's no buildings around you, so you don't end up in the middle of a building in 50 years' time or something.
We're getting in the weeds on this ass travel. It's no.
One of the long ones.
I think as long as it's continuous, it's like eating nachos. If you pick up nachos and it's a bunch attached to it, that's one nacho. So yeah, if it's one long fart, you're still gonna go plus or minus 20. But like the little backfire, the little
Brian is now saying he would fart until I could buy vintage gears resale in the future. But I'm saying if you do those little fast ones, then you don't have time. You know.
No, and if you
go and then you are outside a music shop somewhere 20 years ago, 40 years ago, and you quickly hold it, walk in and buy a couple of strats, and then hold on to them, and then you have to make sure you come back in your timeline, Brian. You see,
I know.
Otherwise, if you end up like, what if you end up 20 years before that, and you find out, oh, actually now I can buy 54 strats instead of a, geez, what do you want to do?
That's why I love these questions. The rest of the day, you might be thinking about this. You have to go ask your wife what her opinion is. It's so great.
See, we don't fart in front of each other. We never have. We don't. We haven't. It's too intimate.
Oh man,
We have been married for 15 years soon, and we
congrats,
never,
buddy.
unless it's you know, it's kind of it's a whoopsie or you're sleeping.
It's sneak attack one.
Yeah. It's, oh my god, that wasn't me. It was a dog.
The ninja fart, man, just sneaks up on you, hanging from the rafters.
Oh man, the dog.
Oh,
I
yeah.
never really wanted a dog. It was like I finally just caved in because the kids wanted a dog, and now we have one, and he just stinks, man. Such stinks.
They can put you out of a room, man. I have a dog that during my workday he's in here, and all the time I'm like, dude.
Yeah. What dog have you got?
What'd you say?
What's your dog? What kind of dog?
He's right outside my door right now. I can hear him. He's like my shadow. He's an Australian Shepherd.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we've got a whippet greyhound mix. So a long, skinny,
I mean, you're having fun with it too, though, right? Like dogs are fun. Like, there's some work, mostly fun though.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I'm always grown up with dogs and stuff, and I think it's good for kids to have a dog. But I'm still the one that goes around the garden and picks up poops, So.
Me too, man. Me too. I love throwing a frisbee in my backyard with my dog, man. He's a monster with a frisbee. Like he's on it. He's just like he lives for it.
Get a frisbee.
Yeah,
frisbee because he runs. Oh, I was almost going to swear then, but I'm not going to because don't know who's watching.
Well, it's a fun way to tire your dog out, man. So you should definitely teach them. It's pretty. I mean, they take to it pretty quick. So.
Well, I'll definitely. Is there any more questions out there? I'm thinking if there was any people have any questions, or do you do that stuff, or?
I usually I want to get people to know the real Pete, the real whoever this person is, and not that people already don't know that because you're pretty transparent out in the YouTube land. But
what that's the point is that's what we talked about earlier. It's like what have you got? Why would you put up a facade, not be yourself? That's if people like you for who you are. I think that's the most important thing. It's like
there's a question for you.
How's don't actually I don't get traffic. There's not much traffic at the moment. I don't know if you saw my Stonehenge hens rage on Instagram.
I did. That's why I brought that up there.
It's every single time. I mean, at the moment it's not bad because there's not many people driving past it because of COVID.
It seems so underwhelming.
The point is that everybody stops to take pictures, and you can slow down, so it goes from 2 lanes into 1 lane. Problem number 1. So 2 lanes into 1 lane. Problem number 1, and that's both sides. And then problem number 2 is that people will there's a hill goes down, and then it's up on a hill here if you come from one side, and they'll all slow down, and you can see them open their windows out and taking pictures and slowing down, and there's no traffic, And the other side is the same thing. People literally stop and take pictures, and I don't give a crap. I need to get home. That's my
right.
That's my So I'm like,
yeah, road rage. Yeah. I get it, man. Trust me.
I don't get road rage. It's just like, come on, just what? So it's great now because it's dark as well, so nobody can really take pictures when I drive past it. It's dark normally. So.
Yeah. It seems like when we were there, when my wife and I went there, we went to Scotland for a few days.
Okay.
Hung out in Edinburgh, and then
beautiful.
Took the train up from London to there, and we took the train back into London. And we were hanging out in Notting Hill. We stayed in like a Airbnb in Notting Hill, which was cool.
Yeah.
But we didn't get to go. Like I told her, I was like, I want to go back there, but I want to go like stay in a little village, like in a little town, and like pop around because there's so much of like English countryside that's so beautiful that I would love to see. And like a lot of my family is from, like, my heritage is Irish and English. Like everybody's from over there. But we didn't get. I didn't get to come to Anderton's because it was like we couldn't like get there because I didn't realize how far it was from the city.
Actually, it's only one stop on a train if you find the right train.
Oh, is it? Okay. Yeah. We saw it. It was like complicated enough for us that we were like, dang it, maybe next time we come we'll go.
Yeah, yeah, you should next time. Whenever the whole thing opens up.
We'll get there, man. We'll get there. It's it's a light at the end of the tunnel. My brother-in-law works. He works in infectious diseases, so he's like been in our ear for like a year. He works for NIH.
All right.
So he's kind of been in my wife's ears since like last February. He told us it was coming before it was on the news or anything. He was like, dude, just be aware. This is what's going on in the world right now. So
Yeah, it was, and I remember it was just when there was NAM, wasn't it, last year? When it after NAM, that's when it kicked off, wasn't it? We just did NAM, then we came home, and I'm sure, man, that must have been spread around NAM as well. It must have been there at NAM. You know, lots of people are like, oh, I feel a bit ill afterwards. You know, I'm sure. I mean, I'm surprised, but all handshakes and the hugs and the people in that. You know, you've been to NAM, right? So it's like disease is central.
I know. Namthrax in general, even when COVID isn't around, like the whole Namthrax thing's a real deal. So
yeah.
I hope to go. I was hoping to go this year. I'm definitely, if it's back up next year, I'm definitely going to be there. So
yeah, it's really sad. I mean, that now Glastonbury, which is close to where I am here, is cancelled again. Not that I'm not a festival goer as such. Maybe because I've played lots of festivals. So I like being here, not here. Yeah. And then I can go out back, and then I can get in a car and drive away when I have to. You know,
because we're old and crusty, Pete. We want to be.
It's people.
Dude, well, I don't want to take up your afternoon. I really appreciate you doing this, buddy. It's so great to meet you. And thanks for
too, man. We definitely need to stay in touch. We could do it some other time.
Oh yeah, man. I'd love to. Absolutely. This week coming up, guys, we got Tim Marcus from Milkman Amps is going to be on Wednesday night. And then your countryman, Matt Schofield, is going to be on next Saturday.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, he's such a good guy. Nice guy. Lovely player. Tremendous.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah. So hang out, guys. But Pete, you can hang. But everybody, we'll see you on Wednesday evening. And take care of each other. Take care of yourself. We'll see you next time.